More than half the country say they've been forced to change their lifestyle just to cover the cost of essentials like food, medicine and household utility bills as prices rise. According to newly released data from the consumer magazine Which, 6 out of 10 of us have recently cut back on shopping, taken out loans or sold possessions just to get by. Our East Midlands reporter Will Hollis joins us now live from Eastwood outside a supermarket. Will.
Good afternoon. Yeah, some of the things you mentioned, people taking out loans, going into their overdrafts just so that they can afford essentials. One of the things that really struck me was 1 in 10 of the people surveyed were having to borrow money from their family. Of course, the natural one that people go for is changing the way that they might shop. Of course, there are many different supermarkets, that are trying to vie for that position at the moment to be the cheaper one. We've seen a reduction in the amount of offered items, so discounted items, just because supermarkets across the board are trying to have that permanently lower cost price. But of course there are places that aren't a supermarket where you can get a lot of your food, and in Eastwood this morning I've been speaking to a local butcher about the change in his custom and the change in the types of items that people are requesting when they do go into his shop.
Yeah, you can see in their spending habits the things that they're buying, that they're sticking to the more essential and cheaper cuts of meat, which is smart buying, and also buying things in bulk and hampers, which will save them a few pennies in the long run.
And what about the cuts of meat that they're buying? Have they changed the way that they're shopping?
Yeah, certainly. There's certainly a market for the more old-fashioned or slightly exotic old-fashioned cuts of meat, things like oxtail and short ribs. So yeah, you can see that there's still very much a market for things like that.
And then what about your purchasing power? What's it like at the moment on the market and the farms where you might buy your meats?
Yeah, we're having to buy smart as well, to try and keep the cost down so we can stay competitive. So yeah, we're having to buy equally as savvy as the customer.
And is there still a place for butchers at the moment, or is there more of a place while we've got the cost of living crisis?
I think if customers were to step into a butchers or a bakers or stuff like that and take that leap to ask the question to their butcher and ask advice and maybe tell them what kind of budget they're on, then yeah, a butcher will certainly point them in the right direction and help them as best they can.
Yes, of course, and if you're really struggling to pay for your essentials, it's only a very short trip to make it to the next stop where you might find yourself having to use a food bank. We've been seeing some figures today from the Trussell Trust that more than 2 million food bank parcels were given out in the last year. So there was a slight decrease from the amount of food banks parcels that people needed during the year of the pandemic, but still some really worrying levels. And I know a lot of people are going to be really keenly watching the money that's in their purses and in their pockets over the next few months.
Welcome to the GB News YouTube channel. You can watch us live 24 hours a day, catch up on your favourite shows and join in the conversation in the comments below.
Don't forget to subscribe and you'll never miss any of our exclusive content.